Am I the butthole for not wanting my 16 female parents, 51 male and 43 female, to have shared custody of me? My parents are going through a divorce. It was a long time coming, and having to spend a lot more time together because they both had to work at home was the last straw. I know I probably sound a bit uncaring/icy about all of this, but at this point I think everyone is better off if they separate. The last 4 years have been marred with constant arguments, cheating and whatnot, and my mom in particular has been using me as an emotional support animal, and I am sick of it. By some miracle granted by the very gods, they have been amicable, at least when it comes to splitting their finances, stuff they own, all of that. My mom moved to her new boyfriend and my dad is keeping the house. Now that they got it all figured out, they only had one thing left to decide, and that is what to do with me. Unfortunately, they assumed I would want to spend 1 week at dad's place, the other at mom's place, and it's just a no for me. When they said what they had decided to do, I said no and explained I wanted to stay with dad. I gave the reason that I go to school here, my job is here, and I don't want it interrupted. In reality, though, it has a lot more to do with me not liking my mom's boyfriend, one of the guys she cheated. Before you ask, dad cheated plenty of times too, with who has 2 kids, no interest in living with 2 random kids 50% of the time, of his own, who live with him full time, and I am just a lot closer to my dad in general. We are a lot more alike, and he isn't emotionally draining like mom is. When I said this, mom broke down and begged me to stay with her full time instead. I said no. She threatened to go to court over this, but my dad pointed out that was a waste of time because I am old enough to where my decision will pretty much be final. That was last week. My mom's side of the family has gotten involved since, telling me I need to keep my mom's feelings into account and support her, and my grandma has gone as far as to demand I go live with my mom instead. I am aware I am not the most empathetic person, far from it, so I have a tendency to only look at things from my own side, but my mom is clearly broken up about this. She calls me several times a day crying. I want to know if I am the butthole here. Please be blunt. Not the butthole. It's a sad state where you're the most adult in the whole situation. I think they are just emotional mostly. That's true, but your mom says you need to take her feelings into consideration while she's disregarding your much more practical points, namely your school and job. She would have you uproot your own established life to accommodate her poor decisions. Emotional or not, that's inconsiderate. Well, it is not like she is moving that far away. We currently live in this town and she is moving to the center of the next town over. My issue is that it would add about an hour to my travel time, and I pay for my own gas. Cycling is not an option with that distance, and I'll be damned if I take public transport, especially in the evening, which is usually when I get out of work. First, she should pay for gas if she wants you to stay with her. Second, what's the living situation like? Would you have your own room? What are their house rules? Is there any way you could think of to compromise, maybe spending some weekends with her or spending more time with her in the summer/breaks? My parents also had a long time coming divorce. Totally different situation, but you don't seem cold or uncaring at all to me, just ready for them to be done. I would have my own room, yes. However, we are talking a 4-bedroom place where 3 rooms are already taken, so guess who'd get the broom closet? And I am completely fine with spending time with her and all of that, as long as it does not require me to sleep there for extended periods of time. Divorced mom here who's learned some things. I wasn't always right at the time. You are 100% NTA. Divorcing parents are terrified our kids are rejecting us and or the other parent is winning the kids. This is nuts, but so are most people during divorce. This may be part of what's up with your mom. Your mom picked her house for her reasons, not yours. Yes, she'd love for you to split time, but she picked a town an hour away and clearly didn't take your needs into consideration, and so that's her decision to live with. Your dad is correct. A judge would simply ask any 16-year where he or she wants to stay, and if you say it, my dad's for these reasons, but I'd still want to go and see my mom, just not sleep there, judge is going to slam his gavel in support and say so ordered. Ignore all the drama coming from your mom's side, block everyone until they can chill out. If you want to throw your mom a bone, you could tell her you love her and say you want to see her for lunch every Saturday or some other day, because she's important to you. But it just doesn't make sense for you to live at her house. In kindness, you could say you don't love either one more or less, it's just what makes the most sense for everyone right now. Any parent who says they need their child for emotional support needs to go join a support group cause that's called parentification and is a nearly guaranteed way to F up your kid or maybe never seen them again from the minute they turn 18. She's the butthole on this point big time. Good luck. Divorce sucks until it doesn't, but it can get better when the grown-ups sit down and stop their drama. If your mom keeps acting like this, tell her you will not even visit her until she finds a therapist and goes through at least 5 sessions including one with you. This is the way. If the goal for the mom is to continue a good relationship with Op, she can do that perfectly fine without living with her. Likely the relationship will be even better that way. My parents divorced when I was a teen and my dad's new wife was hostile to his old family. He moved in with her and her kids. Instead of having me live with them, he picked me up for lunch every Friday at 3 p.m. This continued for years, long after I turned 18. It was so much better for our relationship. If Op's mother is insisting original poster move in with her new family, she's 1, not thinking this through clearly, or 2, has other motivations than building a good relationship. Those could be financial, control, emotional support, housework, and childcare, whatever. Also, the rate of all kinds of abuse of teenagers by mom's new boyfriend is horrific. Especially when the teen moves in with the boyfriend. Seriously bad statistics. Op, stand your ground. Your mother is not looking out for your best interests right now. You forgot child support. This needs more love, heart. Yes, it does. Thank you for this, it was really insightful to read. I guess I may be mis-explaining it, primarily because I tend to be a bit blunt. My relationship with my mom is not bad, though it certainly did suffer a lot the past few years. I also don't think I love her less or something that may have been too harsh of me to say or just the wrong word to explain it. I guess if I had to describe it, I think her behavior with the enormous need for emotional support made our relationship change. I struggle seeing her as a parent, or at least as the authoritative person a parent should be, if that makes any sense. I feel I can, for all his faults, rely on my dad, whereas I feel my mom relies on me. I think the relationship dynamic is just not the way it is supposed to be, and it hasn't been for so long that I struggle reconciling with that. Awesome response. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hang around random kids either. Talk to your mom about a compromise. You have excellent reasons, not that you really need any, but that are both practical: distance from school, and personal, staying in your house, not being around kids and the boyfriend. I'd probably avoid telling her that it's partly because you get along better with your dad though. Whatever happens, you're not wrong for wanting to stay with your dad. It sucks having to be the adult with your parents. Compromising is an incredibly mature thing to do if you have the ability to do so, and offering compromises will either go a long way, or will show you a new side of your mom. Good luck. So the alternative is not uprooting your life at all, staying in your current house in your own room, and not have to deal with strangers underfoot? How does she think she can compete with that? Not the butthole. You are almost an adult, this is clearly the right decision. Bonus, you don't have to be your mom's emotional support monkey. Yeah, I feel like the mom is asking for too much. And every other weekend arrangement is much more manageable. I think every other weekend is asking too much of a busy 16-year-old. They might be working on the weekends, or they might have after-school activities. Plus it's the weekend, time for fun with friends. I was a step kid, and the last thing I wanted to do was go spend time with people I did not really know just to get a few minutes of attention from the parent that moved out. Original poster knows what their available time is, but I hope they don't feel guilty if every other weekend seems like a lot. I think a come visit whenever you want arrangement is the only option here. Telling a 16-year-old that they have to spend time in a house full of strangers, whether it's every other week or every other weekend, is ridiculous. I had a similar situation. My parents divorced. I'd spend 2 weeks with my mom and 2 weeks with my dad because my dad worked away in 2-week blocks. As I got older, I gravitated to spending most of my time at my mom's. My dad got engaged and bought a nice house, but I couldn't stand my dad's fiancée or her son. My mom didn't live far away, so I'd still stay at my dad's for periods of time, but I was more comfortable in my mom's house. It was also easier at my mom's. All my stuff was there, and she'd take me to school, whereas my dad made us get the bus. I also preferred my mom over my dad at the time. I guess she didn't have the same expectations of our time, like as any chores or wanting us in bed by a certain time. I'm sure you can come to a compromise like staying there every second weekend or something. Just try to be straight with them. Living there week on/week off is too much disruption for school and work, and you don't know the people she's living with very well, and you'd like to let them into your life at a gradual pace. That's not a hard rejection, it's fact-based and leaves room for future adjustments if you're comfortable making any. I really do not want to stay there for extended periods of time, maybe a few days spread around a month, but I don't see myself being there for more than a few days at a time. I don't mind a small room, but I do mind living with strange kids and a guy I dislike. Your mother, like all parents, should be advocating for you first, her child, over herself. You know she won't, since she's using her daughter as an emotional support pet. Op's mother is obviously on the selfish side. I have a friend whose mom got married when she was in high school, and my friend and the new stepdad didn't get along. Everyone thought he was a great guy, but he smashed my friend's head into the wall, and then when her mom got cancer he tried to steal her house that was fully paid for before they were married. Follow your gut. If you don't like the guy, do not live with him. It will be better for all involved. The compromise of 1 to 2 weekends per month is plenty. If your mom really wanted to make you the priority, she could get her own place instead of moving straight in with boyfriend. It's her relationship with the boyfriend, it doesn't have to be your relationship with the boyfriend. Why do you dislike this guy? Curious, and I would go with your gut feelings. We are so often told to disregard what we think, ignore our own common sense. Perhaps just a day visit, and not overnight. I think this is more than fair, and she should consider this instead of uprooting you at this time. NTA. Under no circumstance move in with your mom and a boyfriend you do not like. Even if your mom was staying in your current house, if you are not comfortable with the boyfriend, or him having 2 kids, then that's all that matters. If your mom actually cares about having you in her life, then she will accept you won't sleep where she lives, but saying you will spend time with her will have to be enough. Also good for you handling this with such maturity. You don't sound emotionless, you sound practical, and that's what will keep you safe. You asked for blunt, so here goes nothing. Not the butthole. If your mother is treating you as an emotional support human, which I completely believe, then she's acting inappropriately, bordering on emotionally abusive. Guess what though? Even if your mom was a perfect picture of healthy parenting and you wanted to live with your dad, you're still NTA. You're a person. Your opinions and preferences matter. You're nearing adulthood. Your decisions, within reason, should be yours. Good luck. Animal, emotional support human doesn't have that ring to it. For me it would always have been one or the other. I have no interest in moving every week, just seems like a huge hassle. My mom just made the choice to stay with my dad very easy. It's good that you know your mind, and that you are advocating for yourself. In life, if you don't, often no one will. I went through it as a kid until I was 10. It is disruptive. Also, a word of advice, just make sure you see your mom sometime, okay? Don't cut her out of your life. Let some hurts heal over, but don't do so at the expense of your own needs. Agreed. Just because you don't live with her doesn't mean you can't go see her. My mom was pretty mean to me growing up, but when I moved out our relationship got so much better. Not being fully accessible to someone with abusive tendencies makes it easier to deal with them. The second her response to "I don't want to split my time and just live with my town because everything is here" was okay, then you're a monster for spending any time with your dad and should just live with me and never with him. I'd assume your decision became much easier. My parents got divorced when we were quite young. We did the whole back and forth joint custody thing for a long time, but we each chose one house to live in full time in our teens. Which place we chose was dependent on home life, where the house was, if we were working yet, how close it was to work, proximity to public transport, etc. You are definitely not the butthole here. I was coming to the comments to say just this. There's a reason why at a certain age children are allowed to choose who they want to live with, and the decision should totally be Op's. I like it when people go, even if the situation wasn't this bad, you'd still be in the clear, because it gives people the mental support to still stick to their no even when conditions somewhat change. Not the butthole. My mom's side of the family has gotten involved since, telling me I need to keep my mom's feelings into account and support her. And your feelings don't count? I wonder why? It turns out they do count. And there isn't much they can do about it apart from the emotional blackmail. Luckily, it doesn't sound like it's working. You do what's right for you. Like I said, I am not a very emotional person, so their pressure, I guess you could call it, isn't working very well. I just had the idea that maybe I am wrong here and being an ass, which wouldn't be the first time, so why not ask people here? Just as a side note, it doesn't sound like you're lacking in emotions. It sounds to me like you've developed some emotional intelligence. Give yourself some credit. You're doing the right thing, you're led by your emotions, but you have them under control. People aren't either emotional or cold. Some people are just mature. I wish you all the best. I guess so, but I am putting it like that because I do have a history of just not having a lot of empathy, I guess you could call it. So I try to keep that aspect of my personality in mind when making big decisions. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.